Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Well, it's hot. Hello, you awful, raw, uncooked hot dogs. That's right. It is me. It is I. This is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation and all that shit, all that jazz. I just raised my arm really bad and I caught a whiff of my own BO. You know, that's the quarantine life, I suppose. Shout outs to COVID-19, aka COVID Cyrus, aka Cyrus the Virus, aka fuck. Just surpassed 1 million cases in the U.S. So, you know, kudos to us, or kudos to the U.S. Anyway, I am drinking a cup of coffee. It is very hot because I just brewed it. But it's like sweet, it's creamy, it has these kind of earthy qualities. It is actually a coffee from Cafe Mela in Wenatchee, Washington. It's a little roaster over there that produces some fantastic coffees. This one is actually a sample roast I got from my buddy who's the head roaster there, Brian. And it's a coffee bean from the Congo in Africa. And I was emailing him and I told him, like, one of the things I always love about coffee is that, like, it, just looking at it, just like holding it in my hand. Yeah, you don't even have to brew it. I just think about like how awesome it is that little bean has somehow managed to travel from Ethiopia, you know, Sumatra, Brazil, anywhere that it has traveled from, across the world, into my hand, into my cup, for me to enjoy. And just wanted to shout out all your, you know, cafes and coffee roasters and all everybody down that chain, your coffee grower, your farmer, your fucking trade people, like everybody puts in their work to get you that fucking cup. So it's easy to take that shit for granted, but I just wanted to say thank you to Cafe Mela, thank you to Brian, and thank you to all the coffee roasters that are still roasting. Like I've been shouting out, go online, look up your favorite coffee roaster, see if they're fucking still operating, because they probably are in some capacity, and order some fucking beans, all right? Order some goddamn beans, because coffee beans, the sales of the beans, that's the lifeblood. Anyway, we are not even talking about that. We are kind of talking about coffee, but not that particular thing. We're talking about coffee and cannabis today. A fairly exciting subject for yours truly, seeing as, you know, the mixture of the two is like, can be quite a pleasant experience if done right. You have to hold on for that one. But, you know, it also can be like really twisted. I had this idea a while ago to do a podcast show where we try, you know, where we just have some general discussions with a couple of guests, and we drink a cup of coffee. We'll find a particular like single origin coffee, and we'll find a particular strain of marijuana, and we'll try to pair the two. You know, beforehand we'll choose them, and then we'll pair the two on the show and see, you know, how the high is mixed with the caffeine, how is the fucking, what am I trying to say? How is like are the flavors of each, you know, and so on and so forth, and hopefully get to know each other, you know, new people in the meantime. Anyway, that might still come. Who knows? Anyway, today we're talking about the idea of coffee and cannabis just in general. One of the things that they both seem to have in common is that they can increase your heart rate, which isn't always the greatest thing. I mean, because that can lead to like anxiety flaring up and shit. But that being said, it's one of those things, like if you can match that, I don't know, how do I say this? If you can just like get past that a little bit, you might have a good time. Caffeine apparently might help prolong your high. A study was conducted on monkeys that showed that After the monkeys were administered 1 milligram of caffeine, both groups of monkeys, let's see, the one group had a 1 milligram of caffeine, the other didn't have any. Both monkeys I love this line, both groups of monkeys had access to unlimited amounts of marijuana. The study found that the monkeys with the caffeine were less likely to ingest weed. Monkeys. See, this is evolution, all right? We've evolved, and monkeys have evolved into me, and here I am, high and drinking coffee. Anyway, might prolong your high, apparently. You might feel wired and tired. I'm reading this article on, I really don't trust this. I have no idea what this website is. It just seemed like an interesting article. Benzinga.com. Sounds like one of those really shitty websites, but who knows? I'm not talking that much shit. Maybe I am. Marijuana is a depressant, while caffeine is a stimulant. That is something that's kind of interesting. So, marijuana and caffeine's effects do not cancel each other out, despite, what you might think. But I do think, shout outs to my co-hosts Lucas and new co-host Avi at Obviously Avi on Instagram, or check out his music project lemon.leaf on Instagram as well. Shout outs to my homie L, shout outs to my girlfriend Mooner, shout outs to my homies Mojo, Jojo, Livy, Jamie, Mariah, Casey, and Yellow Teeth, aka Jeremiah, aka one of the founders of this fucking Old Heart Radio. Seriously though, shout outs to y'all, shout outs to all you hot dogs listening. You guys are fucking great. I tried to do, right before this podcast, by the way, I tried to put up an Instagram post. If you don't follow us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio. I tried to put up an Instagram post where people could maybe send us topics, like choose a topic and I'll talk about it. I'll look it up and talk about it. Shockingly, nobody did that. So, I'll try it again, and eventually I'll probably get one or two, just because people feel guilty. Anyway, caffeine and cannabis. They seem like, okay, oh my god, to me it's like that classic fucking Jim Jarmusch shit. I think it was Jim Jarmusch. I have to look that up. Coffee and Cigarettes. Coffee and Cigarettes was this remarkable piece of fucking film, man. I love it, and it had these really great segments where there's just two people talking, interacting over coffee and cigarettes, and that's essentially that is what I want to do with that marijuana and coffee show. But as you can see, they have differing effects, and those differing effects don't complement each other as well as you think. They sort of split you, and you kind of end up, I think it just depends on the balance of the marijuana to caffeine intake. But I think, you can find a nice balance. And I think particularly just because they're both kind of these interesting sort of lifestyle luxury items, I just really find that I think you can find the some of the flavors and the subtleties and of the actual plant marijuana really complement some of the flavors and the nuances that you get out of coffee, and that shouldn't be a weird foreign thing. I live in fucking Washington State, by the way. Just for any of you feds listening, I live in Washington State. Come suck my state rights dick, okay? So that being said, also look up coffee and cigarettes. Coffee and cigarettes, I gotta be honest, probably kept me smoking cigarettes for a little longer than I probably wanted, but it's a fucking remarkable piece of work. And it features fucking Iggy Pop, Tom Waits, you see the, fucking Jack and Meg White. Oh my god, the list goes on and on. There's plenty of people in that movie, but look that up. Coffee and cannabis, though, Jesus, dude. When I was first really getting off of alcohol, which, if you don't know, dear listener, dear hot dog, that's right, your host, Old Heart, happens to be I don't like calling myself an alcoholic, but definitely am. I think about drinking booze way too much to really kind of skip that category. But I don't drink anymore because really drinking has led me to a very destructive lifestyle and very destructive health choices that, subsequently, like the health choices subsequently that made me rethink a bunch of shit. And that being said, I'm not like 100% sober. Don't worry, hot dog. I do indulge in obviously other stuff. Just for today, though, let's talk about marijuana. Me and a buddy, when I was first getting off of alcohol, that's where I was going with this. His name is Aaron. We used to work at a small cafe together. He basically ran the kitchen and the grill, and I basically ran the coffee bar. And it was a fucking crazy time. And he used to go hard with me. We used to drink so much after work. Like, we'd get fucked up. And to the point where I have a story with this guy where we got so fucked up and we were throwing a hatchet around that he buried a hatchet in his knee. Yeah, that's no joke. Anyway, we kind of switched, and he sort of like went along this ride with me for a while where we would finish a long day at work. We'd close the cafe. It'd be like the middle of summer, fucking hot with balls. And not like 2 T's hot like the temperature. And just to like paint that picture, like sweaty, disgusting balls. All right. Not like cool, awesome balls or whatever, if you're into balls. Anyway, we would grab like a fucking bottle of toddy, cold toddy, and we would go and just drink down basically a fifth of toddy. And we would like rip some marijuana. We'd rip some bowls, and we would get so fucking twisted off that shit. And I know that's not like the best thing to advocate for, but it definitely helped me steer away from alcohol for quite a while. Like, just to kind of like, I found a different twist. And now I don't do that as much. I just sit here and record podcasts. And anyway, that makes me sound boring. Coffee and cannabis. Interesting, dangerous mix, perhaps, or, fun if you're in the right mood. Anyway, like I said, this coffee I got is from Cafe Mela. Look them up. Thank you for listening always, you fucking hot dogs. Go online. Find us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio, on Twitter at Old Heart and Space, and you can look up the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio as Old Heart Radio. And YouTube. Just YouTube the stuff. I have a bunch of the old videos up. For some reason, a lot of shit's not loading. So, but the new podcasts seem to be loading up. So, we just recently had a new Intune. We're welcoming a new host on board Old Heart Radio. His name's Avi. He's been on a couple podcasts. So, shout him out. Check out his music on Instagram at Lemon Leaf. Like I said, thank you for everything. Go out there, use your brains for good. Every day's a good day to ripen up that coconut. And as we say, thank you to Yellow Teeth and Red Green. Keep your stick on the ice.